What's going on, man? Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you'd like to donate to the channel, the cash app's at the top right corner of the video. But let's get into it, man, because Spotify has responded to Drake, and they responded in regards to the legal action that Drake is taking against UMG, and him pointing the finger at Spotify also. This story here is coming from Billboard. It says the new filing is in first response to a petition filed last month in which Drake accused UMG and Spotify of an illegal scheme involving bots, payola, and other methods to bump up Lamar's song, a track that savagely attacked Drake amid an ongoing feud between the two stars. In a motion filed Friday in Manhattan court, the streaming giant says it has found zero evidence to support the claims of a bot attack and flatly denies that it struck any deal with UMG to support Lamar's song. The predicate of petitioner's entire request for discovery from Spotify is false. The company's lawyer writes Spotify and UMG have never had any such arrangement. Beyond denying the allegations, the filing repeatedly criticized Drake for going to the court in the first place, calling his claims of conspiracy far-fetched and speculative, and questioning why Spotify, a stranger to the long-running feud between Drake and Kendrick Lamar and UMG, is even involved. Spotify also criticized Drake for the way in which he brought his claims to court, not as a full-fledged lawsuit, but an unusual pre-action petition aimed at demanding information. Spotify is saying, why aren't you going all the way with it? And it says the company accused Drake of using that extraordinary procedure because his allegations are too flimsy to pass muster in actual lawsuit and would have been quickly dismissed. Spotify is saying that he was afraid to go full fledged with the lawsuit because he doesn't have enough evidence to back up his claims, saying that they're flimsy and saying that this extraordinary procedure. Yeah, they're really throwing shade at these claims that they're receiving from Drake and the legal action that he's trying to take. Pre-action. They're like, we need a reaction. We need a real reaction, not a pre-action. It's funny though, man. It's funny because this is Spotify talking about Drake, like somebody that that they've been in support of for a really long time. What petitioner is seeking to do here is to bypass the normal pleading requirements and obtain by way of pre-action discovery that witches would only be entitled to seek where to survive a motion to dismiss. Spotify lawyers write the subversion of the normal judicial process should be rejected. In a statement to Billboard later on Friday, Drake's legal team said it's not surprising that Spotify is trying to distance themselves from UMG. Allegedly manipulative practices to artificially inflate streaming numbers on behalf of one or one of its artists. If Spotify and UMG have nothing to hide, then they should be perfectly fine complying with the basic discovery request. Oh, okay. So it's one of those games like, well, if you have nothing to hide, then it would be okay for us to see the discovery or to see the numbers or to see whatever it is that you're trying to hide from us. Spotify is like, I got nothing to hide. Like, you guys are just mad. Like, we had nothing to do with it. But again, this is an artist going against a company, one of these streaming companies. It's become this fight. It wasn't supposed to be a fight like this, but in somehow, some way, Drake turned it into a fight against the artist versus the label versus the streaming companies. It just turned into a situation that we didn't expect to get here. Drake went to court last month accusing UMG of violating the Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organization Act, also known as the RICO, often used against organized crime. He accused Spotify of participating in the scheme by charging reduced licensing fees in exchange for recommending the song to users. A day later, he filed a similar action in Texas, suggesting that UMG had legally defamed him by releasing a song that falsely accused him of being a SO. The legal actions represent the remarkable twist in the high-profile beef between the two stars, which saw Drake and Lamar exchange stinging diss tracks over a period of months earlier this year. That a rapper would take such a dispute to court seemed almost unthinkable at the time, and Drake has been ridiculed in some corners of the hip-hop world for doing so. And because nobody is supposed to sue after a rap beef, but we already talked about that, and we'll go into that later on. But the whole point of this is Spotify is saying they have nothing to do with Drake doing this, and if he is going to do this, he should have gone all the way with it, but he can't because he doesn't have a real case to take to court to go all the way with it. Says here the action also represents a stunning rift between Drake and UMG, where the star has spent his entire career, first through signing a deal with Lil Wayne's Young Money imprint, which was distributed by Republic Records, then by signing directly to Republic. UMG has not yet filed or responded to the litigation in court, but in a statement issued at the time, the music giant called Drake's allegations offensive and untrue. No amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in the pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear. The fans chose the winner. The fans. And this is a crazy statement because it's always, oh, the labels control the numbers. The labels control the numbers. Drake is saying that the labels control the numbers. And then the label's like, nah, the fans choose what they want to hear. It's funny because that's what we always try to fight for. What we think is hot is what the people think is hot. In this situation, that's the case for Not Like Us. But Drake has laid in bed with these labels and companies for many years, bro. So in his mind, he feels like he knows how they get down. So he doesn't want to hear any of what these statements are saying at all. In Friday filing, Spotify echoed that criticism, arguing the civil RICO cases are difficult to prove, even with the ample evidence, and that Drake hardly has any. The petition asserts no specific facts of any kind in support of his alleged RICO and deceptive practice violations, the company wrote. Instead, it relies exclusively on speculation or the claims of an anonymous individual on the internet. Claims of an anonymous individual on the internet. When we had this conversation talking about this situation, we had a conversation about how Jeremy Heck had described how Not Like Us and Certified Lover Boy were songs that if you played, it could either play one of the two, either playing the song title or playing the lyrics of Not Like Us. But saying Certified Lover will either get you the Drake album or it'll get you Not Like Us to play. That was something that Jeremy Heck had said. And amongst other things that were said on the internet, this is just things and examples that Drake had used. That wasn't even a good example, though, because Jeremy Heck goes on to say that it could have just been confused with the lyrics, as to where Drake is trying to say that Spotify and UMG are trying to inflate the numbers by playing Kendrick Lamar's music instead of his, when that's not the case. It's just confusing the song. It's AI. It's not perfect. Yes, AI and Siri are intelligent computer interfaces, but they are not perfect by any means. They're basically saying that Drake is using claims that people said on the internet. And then I remember the video, and shout out Jeremy Heck, bro. All respect to Jeremy, but he said Drake used my video in his lawsuit against UMG. So, like I said, bro, and even in the end of the video, which is the part that I was talking about, Jeremy Heck says this, and this is something that Drake leaves out in his claim in that legal action that he had said.
So it went to Family Matters by Drake. Siri, can you play Wah 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 on Spotify? I see dead people. So there you have it.
You'd think that they would include that part in the paperwork, but
see, that's what I'm trying to say. They didn't include the part where he says that the lyrics will get confused for the song title if you can't break it down. So I'd recommend you check out this video. Check out Jeremy Heck on The Bigger Picture. Everything that they have to share on that channel. Really good breakdowns. Really good insight. And plus, they used him in the UMG. And Drake used him potentially in the UMG lawsuit. We keep it alleged, but right there, look.
Or document. If you scroll down a couple pages, one of the things that Drake is alluding to, online sources reported that when users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by recording artist Aubrey J. Graham, Siri instead played Not Like Us, which contains the lyrics Certified, an allegation against Drake. Now, it's interesting, this online source here, if you go to the footnote number 15, it will take you to an article on Vibe magazine. And in paragraph 2, it says Hip Hop DX's Jeremy Heck revealed the interesting tidbit in a video this past Wednesday. As fans saw the video and tried it out for themselves, they realized that it was happening to them as well.
Play Certified Lover.
Real one. Always tapped into the channel, bro. So salute to bro, man. But Spotify attorneys seem particularly confused on disputing the idea that swarms of bots have been able to flood the platforms to fraudulently boost Lamar's track, a hot button issue in the modern music industry. In an affidavit attached to Friday's filing, Spotify VP of Music offered sworn testimony that the company invests heavily in efforts to mitigate the impact or artificially streaming on our platform. When we identify attempted stream manipulation, we take action that may include removing streaming numbers, withholding royalties, and charging penalty fees. David Caper wrote in the filing, confirmed and suspected artificial streams are also removed from our chart calculations. This helps us protect royalty payouts for honest, hard-working artists. And then we have Russ, right? Who's always been vocal about streaming services and music and the industry as a whole. He posted this like an hour after the fact. I'm not sure if he read it or anything, but he says this has nothing to do. He says, disclaimer, I love Spotify and I'm grateful for the platform that has connected my music with millions of fans worldwide. And this isn't about any label or artist in particular, more so just the system. So you know he's talking about Drake and Spotify. He says right here, Spotify knows who's faking their streams, LOL. However, they're not going to even, in my opinion, publicly expose any major labels due to potential consequences. Major labels could retaliate by pulling their top artists' music from Spotify. That would obviously diminish Spotify's value and attractiveness to subscribers. Spotify just punishes them from behind the scenes, removes fake streams, and removes the song from playlists because they prioritize make sense. Maintaining their access to major label content over publicly confronting streaming manipulation, which essentially makes them a hostage of the major labels. Basically, Spotify publicly outing major labels is a lose-lose for everyone involved. I know everyone loves to hate rich companies or rich anything, but to be honest, in this situation, Spotify is low-key the victim being held hostage by major labels, which is a good point to make because you're just pointing the finger at Spotify, threatening Spotify with this and that. And it's like, bro, y'all need us at the end of the day. And you're kind of in a way using me and holding me hostage because of the situation that you're in. So say when the dust settles, right? Say when everything gets figured out and everything goes back to normal, are they going to blackball Drake, or did Drake blackball himself after the fact? Because when Russ says that, you know, these streaming platforms will take you off the playlist and stuff like that, well, everybody still listens to Drake, right? And everybody could still type in Drake's name if they want to listen to him, you know. But as far as him being on these playlists like Rap Caviar and things like that, like things that get people to listen to your music consistently, without effortlessly too, will he get banned from these lists? Will he get blackballed? Will he be blacklisted? Whatever the case may be, however you want to put it, banned, shadow banned, however you want to call it, man. I don't know, man. It seems like Drake dug a hole for himself. It seems impossible to get out of. I'm not too sure exactly how this is going to end for Drake. Tell me how y'all feel about this. Y'all tell me exactly how you feel about this legal action, what Russ said, what Spotify said. But y'all tell me how y'all feel, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video, man. Peace and keep it alleged.